Bold takes.
If they don't make it to the finals, then this might be one of the biggest L's in NBA history.
Hot topics.
All right, well, I want to give you an apology. Tyrese Halliburton may have proved me wrong.
The best analysis.
But Jokic, he might be the best player in the league this season. He really might be the MVP.
This is the Full Court Report.
All right. We're back. How you fellas doing? Episode number 11, I think, of the second season.
Very excited for this one today.
And like Toby's saying, the NBA season is basically here. It's right around the corner. I think we're 6 days away. We're recording this on a Wednesday. So next Tuesday is opening night for the NBA, the 2024-25 season. So I guess per tradition, even though we've only done this one time, we're going to do some season predictions. We're going to really get into the nitty-gritty, talk a bunch of different topics, try and predict some awards. But yeah, man, this is one of my favorite episodes, I think. I think it's just fun, because we can always look back a year from now and we can look at how wrong we were. Or right, but probably wrong.
No.
Justin's over there shaking his head. You're going to be wrong on a lot of these, Justin.
I know what I'm talking
I can
about.
feel it.
We'll see.
It's hard to, project what's going to happen, 9 months from now. So it wouldn't be, the biggest thing if you were wrong. It wouldn't be the craziest thing. But I don't know. Is there any other news before we jump in? I mean, I know today Lonzo Ball is officially returning for the Chicago Bulls.
Yes,
so that's
sir.
awesome. Yeah, I don't know. Just a lot of preseason action.
Some of you might be aware, Paul George took quite the, I don't even know, he didn't really fall. He hyperextended his knee. It looked worse than it was. The guy should be reevaluated in about a week's time. So hopefully he's good to go. Hate to see Paul George especially get hurt because, guy had a bad injury a couple of years ago. But he's good to go. No damage, no crazy damage. He's good to go.
It looked like some crazy damage.
Yeah, it looked a lot worse than it was. But
also, we got the Yankees going on, and we got the WNBA. I think they're playing tonight, so by the time this episode's out, we'll know who won that game.
Game 3, yes, is tonight. The series is tied to 1-1. They're headed to Minnesota. So, I don't know. We'll see. First 2 games are pretty nuts.
Let's go, Sabrina.
Yeah. I think we all picked the Liberty, so they gotta take one on the road if they want to win the series.
Yeah, they gotta do us a solid so we don't look like clowns.
See, we can't even get that right. And you think we're gonna get these season predictions right. But yeah, man. A lot of good stuff going on in the league. We're happy that it's gonna be here in just a couple of days. But I say we just jump right into it. We got quite a bit to get to cover. So I want to start here. I mean, I guess you can kind of say like this is a kind of like a most improved player award type question, but it's not necessarily like who you think is going to win most improved, more so just a player you want to highlight that you think is going to have a breakout season. Like, I was just saying it's not really most improved, but last year a lot of people like Tyrese Maxey, that would be kind of a guy that really broke out last year, took a huge stride, but it can be, a lesser player, someone who goes from kind of not getting any minutes to like a valuable role player that you think could be solid. So yeah, you can really take this any direction you want, but Justin, I'll let you go first.
3 guys who we've all talked about on here. Wemby, for sure, he'll step it up. He'll probably be first-time All-Star this year. Toby, your boy Cam Thomas, right behind you in the background. He is basically a lock to have a good season because he's the only guy who knows what basketball is on the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
But two guys who I really think are going to ball out this year. I've been seeing a lot of hype around Jaden Ivey of the Detroit Pistons. Apparently, he's been shooting the ball well in camp and in preseason. His teammates have been giving him a lot of respect. And, I just, on paper, the Pistons really don't look too bad. Their roster, is pretty solid, but they always seem to underperform. So this year, I have pretty high expectations for Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham for that matter. But I also think that Brandon Miller of the Charlotte Hornets is gonna take that team to close to the play-in, if not maybe that 10th or 9th seed in the play-in. Because they got some talent. They got some young talent, but you never know. You never know. I think Brandon Miller will be the best player on that team in the next coming years. I think he'll be better than LaMelo Ball. I
Wow.
think he's just got that dog in him. I think he's really got the work ethic, and he's not here to mess around. A lot of people see on social media that guy LaMelo Ball, always goofing off, making his own clothing brand, doing this, doing that. He's a gifted player, but I don't think he's got the work ethic that Brandon Miller does. So I think Brandon Miller and Jaden Ivey are going to have two very nice seasons.
Funny you mentioned LaMelo Ball. Is he just slacking off because he doesn't have the work ethic, or does he just know that team's not going to be good?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if your team's not going to be good. You should still be putting in your all in every practice, every game.
You're
I
right.
think if I had to make an assumption, I think LaMelo Ball might have let the money get to his head because
Mm.
I don't know. I used to watch. I'm not even gonna lie. I used to watch that Ball in the Family nonsense that they used to put up on Facebook, and that guy LaMelo's always just kind of been like, oh yeah, I'm the younger brother. I goof off, do what I want. No big deal. And I feel like he's just kind of. I mean, he technically, he still kind of is a kid. He's younger than we are, so. I don't know. I just think he doesn't got it in him like that.
I feel like it's just kind of what Toby's saying. Like this team hasn't really been, even historically, like they haven't really had a very successful franchise.
Yeah, I
And I
suppose.
think, um, like you said, he's still very young and like coming into an organization where he's like the best player and expected to like lead this team. He probably looks around and it's like, well, I mean, I don't know, how good can we be, even if I am an all star? And like they haven't even made the play-in tournament, I don't think, since he's been there. So yeah, it's. Uh, but I like your pick, Brandon Miller. I think he's gonna have a really solid season. It's not out of the realm of possibility for like a second year guy to make another or take a step in the right direction. But I also like Jaden Ivey a lot. I think when they drafted him, there was some questions of how he would fit next to Cade Cunningham, and there was a lot of people saying Ivy's kind of going to benefit more playing with Cade than Cade is going to benefit playing with Jaden Ivey. But I don't know. I mean, I have seen some of his preseason highlights. He looks really solid, so I'm excited. I'm very excited to see him play and that whole team, Cade, Jalen Duren. So very, very
Yeah,
interesting.
fun team. Fun
Mm-hmm.
team.
Those are some good picks. I like Jaden Ivey. I think he's going to have a much better season this year too.
Thank you, sir.
I was thinking about picking him, but I wanted to do something different. Like we obviously, I think we talked about most improved in one of the previous episodes, and I had mentioned Kuminga, Jalen Johnson's another guy I think is going to be pretty good this year. One player I really like is Andrew Nemhard on the Indiana Pacers.
Okay.
Why do you make that face, Justin?
Because he was giving him buckets and the
He
Knicks
was
buckets.
working us last year.
That's
I
why.
know. I mean, he's probably I think he's gonna get some more minutes this year, probably at the two with Halliburton running the show. But just like you said, he really stepped it up in the playoffs. He went from, I think in the regular season, he averaged like 9-4, and in the playoffs, he averaged 15-5. He's a very efficient guard. And another player on that team I like too is Ben Mathurin. I think he's also going to have a better season. The Pacers are going to be a little bit scary next year. But I think Nembhard is going to take it to that next level where he's like a really solid starter. Not necessarily like he's not going to be crazy, but I think he's going to be a super solid starter. Very efficient. He's probably going to dish it out more a little bit as well. So, and it's like you said, that I think that playoff run, he had a couple games where he put up like, 30 points or something like, at least close to 30 points. So I think he has what it takes. I like the consistency.
It's funny that you brought them up because before you had brought up Ben Mathurin, I was going to say that Miles Turner, somebody I was in a post-practice interview or whenever it was, and the reporter asked him who on the team has been lighting it up in training camp, and he was like, Benedict Mathurin. The league better be on watch. The league better be on watch. So I like Benedict Mathurin. I don't like Andrew Nembhard, but those are some nice picks, Toby. I'll give it to you.
Dude, Mathurin can float. Like,
yeah.
Sometimes when that guy dunks, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, I like Nembhard. Not only did he have a really good playoffs, but he was also on Team Canada this summer. So, like, he was kind of,
it's true.
That was kind of, it was a headline of like SGA and like RJ Barrett, Dylan Brooks, Jamal Murray, I guess. He didn't play that well though, but Andrew Nembhard was part of that team. So I think that'll probably help as well, just having like a good summer with the national team. But yeah, I like both those. I like those picks. But my guy,
what about you?
Yeah, I'm very excited about this player, and I think I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna win Most Improved, but Evan Mobley, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I was thinking about saying Evan Mobley.
There's a lot of reasons why I think he's gonna kind of break out this year. But I remember, I think when he was drafted, I think he was in the same draft as Jalen Green and Cade. I think I remember saying like, yeah, these teams are going to regret passing on this guy because I think like he has the highest ceiling, like in terms of just being an overall player. I think in his second season, he was third in Defensive Player of the Year voting. So, I mean, like he already has that aspect of his game kind of down pat, right? Like he's going to be a great defender, I think, every season, like moving forward. But it was really just like his offensive game that he's needed to kind of flesh out a little bit more. And they got a new coach, Cleveland, Kenny Atkinson. He used to be in
Kenny?
Brooklyn, I believe. Toby, is that right?
Yeah.
But he's been very vocal about like getting Evan Mobley more touches, like trying to unlock Evan Mobley with this team. Obviously, you have Donovan Mitchell. He's going to be a huge part of their offense, but there's something about Evan Mobley that I think Kenny Atkinson sees that he's like barely scratching his potential. So I think when you hear that from a coach, I feel like that's always a good sign. But not only that, like it'd be one thing if it was just your coach trying to kind of lift up a player, but he was really good in the playoffs last year, especially in their series against the Celtics. They did have a handful of injuries, but he was really solid. In Game 5, I think, which they lost, he had like 33 points in that game. So, I don't know. I feel like just kind of how he ended last season and then getting a new coach who I think believes in him, or from what it sounds like he believes in him, I think he's destined for a really good season. And the Cavs in general, I think they're going to be destined for a good season, but I really think Evan Mobley is going to take that next step this year.
Yeah, I hope he does. I really like Evan Mobley a lot. I was thinking about putting him down, but then I thought to myself, he's already so good. Like, how much more, how much better can he get? And so I left him off my list. But I had two other guys who were kind of in that same boat with Evan Mobley. Like, they're already so good. So I didn't know if I wanted to talk about them. But you just said them, Jalen Green, and your boy Franz Wagner.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. You know, they're already, I don't know. This is probably like what, their fourth or fifth season, both of them. So they're hitting the beginning of their prime. You know, they're probably getting all of the, I don't know what to call it. Their basketball IQ is higher. You know, they know where people are supposed to be, and, they know what to look for, the little tiny things to look for. And I think they're both going to be an all-star contention.
Ooh, I can see it.
Yeah. Just real, I mean, you mentioned Evan Mobley. I think his counting numbers, and I think this is why he's going to help him with most improved. Like his general stats, points, rebounds, assists. They aren't like anything crazy. Last year he averaged 15.7 points, 9.4 rebounds, 3 assists. Like, solid numbers definitely, but not anything like eye popping. So I think if that goes up to like 20, 10, and 5, like,
Mhm.
people are going to notice that. But yeah, no, Franz and I think Franz is going to have a great season. That whole Magic team is going to have a great season, I think. But I mean, and he was good. He was also playing for Team Germany in the Olympics, so I think there is a correlation with guys who play like not overseas, international play, like over a summer. I think a lot of those guys normally come in and have like really good seasons. So
Mhm.
wouldn't shock me.
Jorie, I think you made a great point with Kenny Atkinson. Not that I'm trying to glaze or anything like that,
Oh my.
but that guy has a knack for like figuring out how to unlock the potential in certain players. And I've seen it firsthand with Brooklyn when, we had a pretty lowly team. Nobody thought we could really do anything. He ended up bringing us to the playoffs. And I think he unlocked Karis LeVert, and D'Angelo Russell had his best seasons in Brooklyn.
Jared Allen, right? Like Jared Allen was
Jared
in
Allen.
Brooklyn. Yeah. That's kind of like when
Dude.
he started to break out.
Brooklyn D-Lo, bro, insane levels of aura. Like, indescribable. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, that team was so much fun, Toby.
Oh my God. I miss it. I really do.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I think Evan Mobley, man. I've always liked him. But I'm glad that, like you said, he's getting a coach that believes in him. I think that's gonna be huge. And I don't know. Maybe they'll finally win a championship without LeBron. Because I think last year, if I'm not wrong, was like the first time they had won a playoff series without LeBron since, like the 90s, I want to say, or like early or late 80s. So they're
That's kinda
finally
wild.
turning that corner. Yeah, I know, right? Finally. But yeah, man. Any other breakout players or just players you want to highlight you think are going to be solid?
I've said it before, and I'll say it a million times. Miles McBride, baby.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Deuce.
Okay.
Okay.
Any Nets, Toby?
Well, besides this guy right here, I mean, Justin hit the nail on the head. This guy's gonna have he's gonna do he's gonna carry the Nets as far as the offense goes. But yeah, I mean Claxton, I think he's gonna be a better player this year as well. Defensively, he's already like very good. I think he's underlooked in a lot of ways. Trendon Watford, don't sleep on Watford. I think he's gonna have a pretty good season too. He's been a little inconsistent in the past, couple of years, but I think he's gonna have more playing time and he'll be pretty good. We're gonna be bad though. It's like we're gonna be pretty bad.
That's all right. Every organization needs some of those down years to get back up,
Yeah.
All right. Well, kind of in tandem with this, breakout. But now we want to look at some teams, some collectives. Who you guys think? Like, which team do you think is going to take the biggest leap this coming season? And again, it can be like worst in the league to like making the play-in. It could be making the play-in to, top of the conference. However you look at it. Justin, you can go first again.
Yeah, so I was speaking on Brandon Miller and Jaden Ivey. I think the Hornets and the Pistons are gonna step it up because they were both trash. They were both terrible last year. Hornets finished 21-61, and the Pistons finished 14-68. So it can only go up from there. And I think both of those teams, the Pistons, I can tell you, seem like they're locked in. Because I just saw a post earlier today or yesterday. Their coach, JB Bickerstaff, has implemented a team dress code. And he was emphasizing you play how you practice, or you practice how you play. He said nobody's allowed to wear headbands. And if you're sitting on the bench, you're not wearing, he didn't say like not wearing street clothes, but he was like, don't be, looking like a bum out there. Make yourself look presentable. Don't just show up in your, clothes you were wearing at home and just pop out to the game if you're not playing. So he seems like he's locked in. Pistons seem like they're locked in. But I just think the Hornets, I think they have a pretty good amount of talent, and I don't think they're going to finish with only 21 wins this year.
Yeah.
All right. Justin, I might agree with you on the whole little bit, but I don't like the philosophy of Biggerstaff with the dress code thing. I feel like it, you can make the players.
He's trying to bring back the bad boys era.
I understand his sentiment,
nonsense.
but like, it's let the if it's practice and stuff, just let them wear what they want to wear. Like if somebody wants to wear a hoodie, like hoodie mellow, what's
You could do
what's
that.
bad about that?
You could do that when you're training with your trainer. You're supposed to be locked in at practice.
I guess I just feel like changing how they dress isn't really gonna change how they play.
I haven't seen any players, saying that they don't like it. I haven't seen any players, talking out against their coach or anything. So,
They're all trying to get playing minutes. That's why.
well, good, good. That means they're locked in. They're ready to go. The Pistons. No, you're sleeping on the Pistons, Toby. I think that's all you're doing.
Nah, maybe I am sleeping on the Pistons a little bit. They deserve to get slept on.
Wow.
He might be right. He might be right, but I'm taking my chance in saying that the Pistons are going to take a nice little leap this year. And I mean, I'm already I got to throw it in there. Knicks are going to take the biggest leap because they're about to win the championship. They're about to go.
Okay.
Just good.
From
a good
the
team,
2
a
seed
great
to the
team.
1 seed, the biggest
Yeah.
leap.
They might not even be the 1 seed. The Celtics still might be the 1 seed, but the Knicks are winning the championship. So that's a leap if I've ever seen one.
All right.
Here
We'll
we go.
see. That's not who I predicted, but we'll get into that a little bit
Yeah,
later.
we'll get to that in a bit.
Spoiler alert. Damn, Justin.
Hey,
I was excited for this one, and I thought this was a pretty obvious choice, barring any sort of health things. But I think the Memphis Grizzlies are going to be a good team this year. We mentioned it in one of the previous episodes. Ja had said, "What do you say? A happy Ja is a scary Ja."
Yeah.
Yep.
And I agree with him. I think Ja can be right back on that level he was a couple years ago. Jaren Jackson Jr. He's one of my favorite players, to be honest with you guys. I don't think he's going to have as much of an offensive workload, so he can focus on defense or whatnot. Zach Edey, I think coming in as a rookie, he's going to have a big impact on that team. And last year they finished, I think, like 12th or 13th seed. They were 27-55. I think they can get close to flipping that record around. I think they can get around 50 or so wins this year and probably be in the middle of the pack as far as the Western Conference goes. But they got shooters. Desmond Bane. I love Desmond Bane. I'm a big why are you shaking your head, Justin? Desmond Bane is a great player.
Because man, that's Spencer's team. I cannot be giving respect to any of your teams.
I know, but Luke Kennard, I think he's a great player as well. Great 3-point shooter. So I think they're going to be around like a 5th, 6th seed at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's definitely
Respectable pick.
yeah. But you said like it's kind of obvious. Like you get all those players back, it feels like they're just going to be better. But I'm surprised, Toby, you didn't say San Antonio because I think I remember you talking about them like a little bit earlier. You
I was
know,
thinking about it. I just don't know if they're. I think they're going to be like a low level playing team, and the question was which team will have the biggest jump, the biggest,
Hmm.
you know,
all right, fair enough.
from last year. So I think the Grizzlies, but I do think, like you said, I think the Spurs are going to be really good, especially defensively. I think they're going to be one of the top defensive teams in the league.
Yeah, I was curious because I looked it up, but you know, Chris Paul has this kind of I don't know trend. Every time he joins a new team, they generally do better. Um, you know, when he was drafted to the Hornets, like they obviously got a lot better. Then he went to LA and they started making the playoffs again. And then where did he go after that? Houston or OKC? Either way, he went to, you know, those two teams, they got better. So like it feels like everywhere he go, Phoenix, you know, they got to the finals with Chris Paul. So like it feels like everywhere he goes, they always get better. And somebody did the math. On average, when Chris Paul joins the team in that first season, they win 14 more games than the
Damn.
previous season. The Spurs were 22-60 last year. So, you know, they could be like a mid 30, you know, win team. I don't know if that's going to be good enough to make a play-in tournament, but definitely a, you know, step in the right direction. But, you know, we'll see. He is 39 now, so he might not have the same impact he had, you know, when he was a little bit younger. But my team, and I think I talked about them last episode, the Houston Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're ready for the playoffs. Like I think they're gonna be that team that, you know, isn't on everybody's radar, and then they might start the season hot. They might just have a good stretch at one point in the season, but I feel like this team is ready to win. I've been watching a lot of their preseason, and their defense is something else, man. I think it's like Ime Udoka. Like he was kind of known as like a defensive coach when he was in Boston. But even last year, in his first season as coach, they were a top 10 defense. And they were also the only top 10 team or defense that didn't make the playoffs. So, you know, make that of what you will. But I feel like this team is ready. Again, the defense is going to carry them, I think, but I think Jalen Green is ready for like a breakout season, even though we didn't really talk about it too much. Last year, from February 29th to April 7th, it was a 20-game stretch. Jalen Green averaged 26.6 points, 6.1 rebounds, and 4.3 assists. He shot 46.5% from the field, 38 from three on 10 threes a game, and 82% from the free throw line. So he was, you know, looking like a all-star level player, and I think they're going to need that. Şengün is also ready for a huge leap, I think. He finished third in most improved voting last year. And also during that stretch when Jalen Green was kind of balling out, the Rockets went on an 11-game winning streak, and they had some solid wins in that streak. They beat OKC at OKC. They had some, you know, wins against Cleveland. They had a win against the Kings in Sacramento, and then they even like blew out Washington. They blew out Portland. So like they were handling their business against whoever it was. But yeah, I really think this Houston team is going to take a leap. I think again, a lot of coach speak, and I'm sure a lot of coaches are saying this, but Ime Udoka during you know, I think it was media day or maybe like a recent practice, basically saying like, you know, when I first arrived here, like the culture was all out of whack and, you know, we weren't winning games. And then you know, this past season, we kind of made some steps in the right direction, but like, I'm not content with what I've done so far, like whatsoever. Right. Like I want to win a championship basically. Like, you know, he had the Celtics in the finals in 2022. So like he's a championship level coach. Like he's not there to just rebuild this team and, have a fun time. Like he wants to win with this team. So I don't know. I feel like everything is trending in the right direction. Reed Shepherd looks amazing as a rookie. I think he's going to have a great season. But they just got so many young guys, and I think a guy in Udoka is going to lead them to a lot of wins.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. I like the Rockets. I like that pick. I like Jalen Green. I like Jabari Smith. Şengün's all right. Yeah, no, I really like that pick, Jorie. That might be my favorite pick so far.
I was about
Thank
to
you,
say,
sir.
Jabari Smith, I think I remember in the 2022 draft, there was a lot of talk about who was going to go first. Ultimately, I think the Magic made the right choice in choosing Paolo, but Jabari Smith, I didn't choose him for breakout season, but that's a player that I really want to see have a breakout season this year. Cause I mean, I think he's talented enough, but yeah, who knows? I think maybe, they're pretty guard heavy, I think. So they could end up making a trade in the middle of the season, maybe like Van Vliet or something like that. But I like that pick. I think they're going to be I think they're going to be a solid team. Maybe even make it to this, 6 or 7 seed, maybe.
They
Yeah,
are very guard heavy, Toby. But I feel like a lot of their guards are like pretty big. Like Jalen Green is pretty tall and long. Same thing with Amen Thompson. You still have like Jabari Smith, like he was huge. Like I think he's like 6'10". Dylan Brooks is just a big dude in general, just in terms of strength and size, everything. Şengün, obviously, great center. Off the bench, you have Tari Eason. So I don't know. Like they already have a lot of guards, yes, and they, of course, they drafted Reed Shepherd, but I feel like they're just not really a small team. And again, defensively, I don't know. Like the preseason game I was just watching, they switch a lot. I think part of because of everyone being like so versatile defensively, but they move so well on that side of the floor. Like they look so connected. Everyone is making like the right reads. Everyone's making the right switches. Like something about this team, I feel like a lot of teams are gonna struggle against. And I feel like if they can just figure out their offense, they're gonna be really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Shout out the Rockets. Shout out the Grizzlies, the Hornets, the Pistons. We all hope you have great seasons.
Well, kind of.
Yeah. All right. This is a little bit of a different question, but something I wanted to throw in here just to stir the pot a little bit. Which star player do you think has the most to prove this season? And again, like you can take this however you want. Whether that you think this player needs to win a championship, this player, whatever it is. I don't want to, take away from what you have to say. But Justin, again, I'll let you go first.
I got 4 guys. 2 of them I really want to talk about. The other 2 I just kind of want to hint on. 2 I'm going to hint on are Damian Lillard and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA. Dame, I think, has a lot to prove because, his whole thing was, he's not getting any help in Portland. He finally leaves Portland, goes and plays with, top 5 player in the league right now in Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then him and Giannis were both injured, so, things happen, but, they stunk it up in the playoffs. So this time around, I don't want them getting in the way of my New York Knicks winning the championship, but they got to be, they got to be a really competitive team. They should be making it to, they need to make it to the second round at least. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has a lot to prove because everybody is saying they're going to be the best team in the league, like record-wise. Everybody's saying they're going to get the most wins. It's either them or the Celtics are the favorites to win the championship, and he's the best player on that team. So he needs to be the guy who gets the job done. The 2 other clowns that have a lot to prove.
Oh, geez.
Well, one guy's a clown. One guy's just, he's Luka Doncic. Luka,
Really?
we're in the finals. He's got Klay Thompson, a very solidly improved roster. If he's already taken him to the finals, what's stopping him from winning the finals? He's top 3 player in the league, I would say. Guy, he's basically the modern day Larry Bird. Like, the guy's crazy. He can do everything. But this guy, Joel Embiid,
Oh yeah.
Joel Embiid. Now, I did just see a post that said, in order for the Sixers to keep him healthy, some guy asked him, "What do you think that the Sixers are going to do, the staff and all that?" And he was like, "I'm probably not playing a lot of back-to-backs." So it sounds like he's getting the Kawhi treatment, but he was getting bullied by the Knicks last year in the playoffs. He was playing with half a face, playing on one leg, so it's understandable. But he was really getting muscled around by Mitchell Robinson. That's why he had to go and pull on that guy's leg. He has one of the most solid big threes we've seen in a long time with him, Maxey, and Paul George, who is hopefully okay. Nick Nurse is a championship coach. He took the Raptors to the finals and won. Realistically, there should be not a single player in the league standing in Embiid's way of winning a championship. He's the biggest guy in the league, basically. He's one of the most offensively gifted players. If the Sixers can't get it done this year, I don't think they'll ever get it done. And that's why I think he needs to show people that he's a winner, because so far he hasn't been a winner. He can do all he wants in the regular season, but the playoffs come around. The only MVP in history to never make it out of the first round. That cannot be happening.
Damn. I don't know. Well, he's gotten out of the first round, right? But in the second round, I guess probably.
He's never won 2 rounds.
Conference final.
Yeah, he's never won 2 rounds.
I don't know. Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, I have a player, but I don't want to.
I just had to go in on that guy Embiid.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because,
I mean, hey.
I don't like him. I'm the farthest thing from being a fan of Joel Embiid. But I can't deny his greatness. He's a great player, and great players need to win in the playoffs.
You mentioned he might not play back-to-backs. I just Googled this. So the Sixers have 15 back-to-backs this season. So if he were to miss all of those games, he would at maximum play 67 games. So still enough. I mean, that's if he, doesn't get hurt at all this year, but that would technically make him eligible to win like end of season awards. So but yeah, that could be a way to save him for the playoffs. I think I mentioned it before, like I think Maxey has got to be the guy in the regular season to really carry them. Obviously, you need Embiid and Paul George to be a good team, but I think Maxey's kind of got to take that lead and get them through this regular season so that they, don't miss the playoffs. I'm not saying that they will, but yeah.
Yeah, Justin, you kind of stole my thunder a little bit.
Yeah, well,
I also picked.
let me hold on. Let me just back to this guy Paul George. I don't want to say he's been playing bad for the Clippers, because he hasn't been playing bad, but he's not even PG-13 anymore. So, they're calling him 8-Ball Paul. They're calling him 8-Ball Paul because he's wearing number 8.
Oh my gosh.
He's got to get back into being playoff P. Like, even if they're not in the playoffs, he's got to play like he's playoff P.
Yeah, at least for the regular season.
Yeah.
But I mean, Embiid he's the guy on that team. Like, I don't think at this point anybody would consider him the best center in the league. Maybe when he's playing, but availability is the best ability. And, Jokic is out there every night dropping triple doubles. It's, he's had plenty of chances throughout his career to, I think, make the finals at least. I think back to the series against the Raptors where Kawhi hit that crazy shot. And, he's played with Jimmy Butler. He's had Tobias Harris on his team while that guy was good. That guy was good. Don't disrespect Tobias. But along with, I also said Paul George, just because of all the, when he went to the Bucks, a lot of people thought that team was the team to beat in the East. At least some people did.
Wait, who? Who are we talking about?
What did I say? Paul George?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I meant Damian Lillard.
Okay.
And, the headlines with him not meeting with Giannis throughout the whole offseason is kind of a little bit concerning. So I think he's going to have a lot to prove this year, especially like you said, since, the whole narrative was he's never had any help while he was with Portland. But this guy, Joel Embiid, I think he's got to make the finals to kind of prove himself, to prove that he's, still one of the best players in the league. And if not, I don't think, with him being out half the, season, he's probably not going to win another MVP, I don't think. So Joel Embiid, he might have the most pressure on him, but I think he has the most to prove.
And I gotta say, I don't think he can handle the pressure. I don't think he's got it in him.
Damn.
I mean, we saw him complaining about the refs. We saw him foul baiting. We saw him pulling on people's legs in the playoffs last year. He's always trying to blame somebody else. He's always trying to blame somebody else for when they don't have success. So I don't know. I don't think he's built for it.
Wow. This is going to come back to haunt you.
I hope it does. I hope it does. Then it would prove my point. Then I would get points on the end of the season recap episode.
Yeah, true. Hey, there you go. Yeah, no, it does feel like the Sixers have a lot to prove, but it just takes one great playoff series and then, run really, and then the whole narrative changes, right? Like look at last year. Not to say that there was like a lot of questions about like Luka and where his place in the league, but just really that whole team, like the Mavericks, Jason Kidd, Kyrie Irving, like so many people on that team benefited from just making the finals and kind of proving that you can do it in the playoffs. But so that's really all it takes, man. And I mean, the Sixers, they got all the pieces to do it, so just got to go out there and do it. But mine is a little different. It's not necessarily about like playoff success or anything, but Zion Williamson is my player.
Oh, that's a good one.
I feel like, and I guess I love Zion. Like personally, I love watching him play. Like he's one of my favorite players just to watch. Period. Like even when he was at Duke, like there was a lot of hype surrounding Zion. Like a lot of hype. Like Barack Obama was going to his games hype. And like I don't know. It's just right now it's just been injuries. And I think last year he had probably his best season in terms of like availability. He played 70 games. So that was really good to see. But I remember watching their play-in game against the Lakers, and he was having like a ridiculous game. I think he had like 40 points, and then right at the end of the game, he got hurt, and they lost the game. And I was just like, wow, like it just feels like every time we're like so close, and then it just, I don't know what it is. But I did see he's kind of lost some weight this offseason, it seems. I think he said he lost like 20 pounds or something. I don't know. Like I don't know if that's really going to equate to like staying that much healthier. Maybe it could help, but
I wouldn't think
I'm not
so.
a doctor. It's like I think at the end of the day, it's just he's such a unique athlete, right? Like there's just not many guys like that big. Like 260 pounds or something, whatever he is, jumping that high and like, playing with so much brute force. So it's just a challenge, like guys like that to stay healthy, but I really want to see it because I love watching Zion and I feel like he's the kind of the guy that if he got into the playoffs, he would be a matchup nightmare. I feel like, for so many teams. But yeah, man, I really hope he has a good season. And I think the Pelicans, I mean, they're an interesting team. They're a team that's very small, in my opinion. They do not have a lot of bigs. I think they have Daniel Tice, and they drafted a guy, Yves Misi, I believe, from Baylor. And those are, I'm pretty sure, the only two centers on their roster. So they're a pretty small team. They did trade for DeJounte Murray, so that'll be interesting. You know, you still have CJ, you still have Brandon Ingram, you still have Herb Jones, you still have Trey Murphy, so like, and obviously Zion. So they're going to be an interesting team to watch. I feel like, I wonder how they're going to play. I feel like they're going to be very small, but also very versatile and fast. And that could help Zion, I think, a lot, just playing with a team like that.
Is the Pelicans coach?
It's Willie Green.
Okay.
Willie Green. I believe he's been there. I want to say this is his 4th season
Hey, he's been
at
around.
New Orleans. So he's been around for, he's been there for a while. Yeah. So I don't know. Zion Williamson,
Yeah,
player with the most improved. Yeah.
Hey, Jorie, you're really out here sniping. I like these picks.
Well, this is when it kind of gets a little, tough, because now you got to really make a decision.
Mhm.
We can bring up a couple of teams or a couple of players that could, but now you got to really make your picks.
Yeah.
So I think the best place to start is Rookie of the Year. And this is an interesting one. I feel like in previous, if we did this last year, if anyone said anyone other than Wemby, I think we probably all would have just clowned you for it.
Mhm.
But this year is interesting. I feel like it could really go to a lot of different players. So I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. Your Rookie of the Year, Justin?
Nah, Toby, I want you to go first.
What? You can't go out of order?
No. I want Toby to go first. I want to
Okay.
see what this guy's gonna say.
I don't care. I don't care.
All
'Cause
right, Toby.
I already, you mentioned it. I think this is up for grabs. I think anybody can really take it this year, but it's kind of weird that this might be controversial because he was the first overall pick. But I like Zach Risachet for Rookie of the Year this year. I did see a little bit of the second preseason game, and that guy, he just looks like a professional. I mean, he's like 19 years old, but he plays, he's very developed and mature the way he plays. He could just do a little bit of everything. He could hit threes. He's pretty efficient. He can, run in transition. And I think with Trae Young's passing ability, it's going to be like a match made in heaven. And also, I think, because I was thinking of some other players too, like Reed Shepherd, but we mentioned it before that the Rockets are so guard heavy. I don't know if that guy is going to get enough playing time to, be in the conversation. I mean, I'm sure he'll be there, but Zach Edey too. He's, as much as I hate to say it, he's gonna be in talks.
But
I
your
think
pick is Risachet?
Yeah, Risachet. He's
Okay.
what, 6'9", like 210 pounds or whatever. And it's another year that we're gonna see a Frenchman win Rookie of the Year.
Wow. Okay. All right.
All right. So last episode, I was definitely gassing that guy, Stephon Castle. I still really like him. However, the Rookie of the Year is going to be Dalton Connect.
Whoa.
It's going to be Dalton Connect.
No way.
Wow.
Why?
Okay. No,
Why?
let me hear you out.
This guy is playing with the greatest basketball player of all time, the greatest basketball mind the game has ever seen in LeBron James. He's a fantastic shooter, and he's tall. He's got length. He's going to be like, he's basically LeBron's number one spot up option when he's on the floor. And then he's nice enough, he's big enough to get his own shot off and take it to the rack, pull-ups. He's got a bag. Like he's a very good offensive player. I'm not informed on his defensive capabilities, but I think he's really just going to shoot the lights out like every game. LeBron's going to find him in his spots. I think he's just that guy, bro. I think he's really just like that.
Wow, that's
I
controversial.
just feel like with the Lakers, it's going to be hard to like really. I mean, I don't know. I could be totally wrong. JJ Redick could maybe love this guy. Like he's going to make sure, like, prioritize Dalton Connect and get him in the game. But I don't know. I mean, you have D'Lo, you have Austin Reeves. Like I think that's going to be your starters right there. LeBron can just play any position, so that might take away minutes. What else do they have? Gabe Vincent is there. Like another solid guard who might get minutes. I know they've been playing Max Christie a lot, who they drafted maybe 2 years ago or a year ago. I forget which draft he was in, but
He's been around for a bit. This might be like his third or fourth year.
could be. And you can't forget Bronny James.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I'm just kidding. Not really, but like, I don't know. I mean, that's it. I'm not saying, hey, you could be right. Like he was great in college, and it's also he's 23 years old, so like he's developed, right? Like he's a player like who, in theory, should be ready to play now in the NBA. But yeah, we'll see.
The only thing is, just like what Toby said about Reed Shepherd, is he's got a lot of competition at his position. So if he can beat out Max Christie for minutes, I'm not sure, how long he's out or what even his injury is, but I'm pretty sure Jared Vanderbilt is out, or he was during the preseason. So, if he can slide in there and secure himself a nice little, 15 minutes a game or so, it's his for the taking.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
Because
Yeah.
this draft, nobody knows nothing about anybody. Like,
I feel like this is a pretty deep draft, though. I feel like there's no like players that are going to be crazy, but I feel like this is going to be a draft we're going to look back at and we're going to be like, this was like a very solid draft for a lot
Yeah.
of good like players.
I think it was Trey Young who said it, who the guy's kind of doing his own teammate dirty, but I think Trey Young was saying that this is a draft class full of role players. And that's not always a bad thing. If your ceiling is, like Mikal Bridges or something, like that's a solid player. You're a good player. You can be a serviceable player for any team. So I agree. I don't think there's a lot of bums in the drafts, but I don't think we're getting any superstars out of this draft.
Makes sense. All right. Well, this is gonna make you guys probably, I don't know. My rookie of the year is Zach Edey.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
My rookie of the year is Zach Edey of the Memphis Grizzlies. Yeah, I've seen enough, I believe. Yeah,
You've seen
it's
enough
my rookie of the
already?
year. It's, to me, again, I think with rookie of the year, it comes down a lot of the times to just who can even get on the floor, like who's actually playing. And to me, I think Zach Edey is one of the very few players, rookies, I should say, who are going to probably start for their teams. Like Alex Sarr, I think in Washington will probably start if I had to guess. And then who else really? I mean, like Donovan Clingan maybe in Portland, but they also
I think
have,
Risa Shea can start some games.
yeah,
I mean, that guy DeAndre Hunter, but
yeah, I know.
he's always injured.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, like, but to me, like day one, Zach Edey could be the starting center for the Memphis Grizzlies, and I think that changes a lot. And not only that, I feel like he's just going to have the stats, the eye-popping stats, the stats where he has like a 20 and 18 game with like 4 blocks or something like that, because he's 7'4" and probably going to walk into the NBA as one of the best like rebounders in the whole league. And he's going to get easy buckets. I think he's going to also benefit from being on a good team. Like he could be in the playoffs, and people could be seeing like, wow, so he's a starting center for a team that's in the playoffs. How do you not give it to a guy like that? I think he's going to be efficient, I think. And again, I don't know. He's going to have the stats, everything. So that's my pick, Zach Edey.
Yeah. I think it's
Not a
very
bad pick,
it's likely.
but not a favorable pick.
I think it's probable though. I think he was my number 2. I just didn't want to say him because I knew you were gonna say him.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I like both your picks. Don't connect. That's so interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's just I don't know, ready to play now. And I feel like he's going to be better than people expect. I think he took 2 threes in one of their preseason games. So everyone that's saying he can't shoot or won't shoot, look out, because now you have a 7'4", like 300-pound center taking threes. Like, good luck, coach. I don't know. So we'll see.
He's a little bit raw, but I think he's gonna be a double machine for sure.
There's so many times where he just will not be boxed out, and it like doesn't matter who's on the floor. It's kind of crazy. So,
Plus, if he's playing next to Jaren Jackson, like that defense might be a little bit crazy. Like that front
Yeah,
court.
nobody's walking in the paint in
Yeah.
Memphis. That's for sure.
it's gonna be not fun for a lot of slashers. But
This
we
guy-
could see some posters. We could see some posters.
This guy Spencer is gonna be talking crazy all season, bro.
Ah,
Oh man. Yeah, well, I guess that's a good transition. You know, talking about defense. Let's go here. Who do you guys think is the defensive player of the year?
We can all agree it's Wemby. It's Wembenyama.
Toby?
I think the question is who's gonna come in second.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right, well, yeah, I guess we could just do that because I said Wemby too.
Yep. It's Wemby.
Like, I mean, we should talk about it. I think Wemby is
But
just
Is there anything to talk about?
It's
Is there
just-
anything to talk about?
he's just gonna have the stats, and not even it's just not that. Like I think he's truly one of the best defenders in the league, and like actually makes an impact in a lot of different ways. He's not just getting like crazy blocks that are fun to watch, but like he's really doing a lot of little things too. Like the fact that he can like close out on a lot of shooters as quickly as he does is like ridiculous. Like I don't think people understand how crazy that is to have literally the tallest player in the league like moving that well, and like I guess having the what would you say, like the balance and the I guess just ability to close out. It's wild. It really is wild.
It's kind of scary.
Like he already led the league in blocks last year as a rookie, 3.6. So again, like he's gonna have the stats. He's gonna do it everything. He had a triple double with blocks.
That's crazy.
Against Toronto this past season. Again, guys, he was 19 years old, I think, last year. So if that
Is he
guy
gonna put
starts,
up a quad
look
dub?
out, Mike. Look out, LeBron. Look out, Michael Jordan. Look out, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I don't know. If that guy wins some titles, it's gonna be real scary.
Yeah, he's gonna be in the conversation.
It's gonna be real scary because like right now, what he's doing is just not making any sense. But yeah, so you guys think? Well, that would be his I guess first major award. Obviously, winning Rookie of the Year, but DPOY. That's kind of when you start building that resume. You could look back and he could have like 4 or 5. Honestly,
I think he might even have more.
I think the most is 4, right? I think the most is 4. I'll look it up. Go
The
ahead.
only thing is, you know how it goes these days with this voter fatigue. He might get like 3 in a row, and they're gonna be like, "All right, we gotta give him to somebody else."
I don't know. I think they might rename the award after Wemby.
Oh, Wembanyama.
I think last year was probably the last season we're going to see somebody else win it for a while.
Rudy Gobert, Dikembe Mutombo, and Ben Wallace. They all have the record. They all have 4. So there you go. Yeah, he could get 5. We'll see. Who do you think is going to finish in second? That's what you asked, Toby.
Jaren Jackson.
You think Jaren Jackson?
I think he'll finish in second. You can never go wrong saying Gobert. I mean, Zach Edey, if depending on how much he plays, he might be in the conversation.
I think Bam. I think Bam's going to be up there. This guy, every take I've had, this guy's just been hating.
No, because you're picking all the guys that I don't like, Toby. You're picking all the guys and the teams I don't like. I'm sorry. It's not you. It's your picks.
I don't think Bam ever won a DPO because of Rudy, but I think that, I mean, he's on a Eric Spoelstra Heat team, and he's already one of the best defenders in the league, I believe. So I think he's probably going to come second if I had to guess. And like you said, I think I believe in voter fatigue. I think people are tired of that guy Gobert. So
Yeah. And he's getting a lot of disrespect. A lot of people are, I don't know, they don't think he deserves them. That's a whole different conversation.
he's had that disrespect for years. That guy Shaq called him a bum like 5 times.
I guess one more thing on Wemby. He would be the youngest defensive player of the year ever if he were to win next year, this season.
Hey.
The youngest right now, it's a tie. It's Jaren Jackson Jr., Kawhi, Dwight Howard, and Alvin Robinson. They were all 23 years old. So
I don't think there's ever been a unanimous DPOY, but I think Wemby could. I think he could very likely be the first one, depending on how, maybe this season, but maybe in a year or two.
all right, moving on. The I don't know what you would call this. It's an important award for a lot of people. A lot of legacy conversations. MVP, most valuable player. To me, I don't know. I think there's realistically, I would say like 4 or 5 guys that can win, but we'll see. Justin, you got to go first this time. So
This man better be in that top 4 that you're talking about, Jorie. Jalen Brunson.
Oh, I knew it.
Oh,
I knew it.
Our
gosh.
Oh, my
2024-25 MVP. He's got to be. He's going to be the best player on the best team that league has
No,
ever seen. 75-7 this year, baby. Nah, but realistically, Jalen Brunson is our MVP. I don't know what I got to say. There shouldn't be anything to say. He's gotten better every single season he's been in the league. He's got a phenomenal team behind him. If the most valuable player is defined by you take him off the team and the team's not performing anywhere close to how they would with him on the floor, he's your MVP.
All right.
I don't agree with that.
You don't
Jalen
have to
Brunson.
agree. You don't have to agree.
Jalen Brunson he might be the 3rd best player at his position.
Behind who?
Well, I think runner-up, it's going to be a close one. I think runner-up is going to be SGA. But I think this is the year that we're finally going to see a Luka Doncic MVP, and it's about damn time. First of all, like I said, I do believe in voter fatigue. So regardless of that guy Jokic, unless he has the best season in NBA history, I don't think he can win it. I also think, I know it's a regular season award, but I think voters might take into consideration the fact that he brought his team to the finals last year, and I feel like they just feel like he deserves it. I mean, I think he's going to probably put up close to a 30-point triple-double like he did last year. But I think I said it's going to be close because I think the Thunder will probably finish with a better record than the Mavericks at the end of the season. So I think it's going to be like a Russell Westbrook type of situation where he's not necessarily on the best team, but he's just putting up crazy numbers next year. And yeah, I think we probably said this year after year, but I think this is the year of the Luka Doncic MVP.
Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick at all.
Great pick. I know, because he's going to win it. As barring any injuries. Plus, I think them getting, Clay on the team, I mean, it's just going to be a lot easier to get assists. Guys just going to be driving in, dishing out to Clay. Clay shoots threes in the corner. Easy, 12 assists per game type of season.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I think he's going to be right there. But my MVP is your runner-up.
Ooh.
SGA.
Okay.
I think SGA's got it this year. Yeah. I think the Thunder might have the best record in the league, and that normally helps. This past season, they were tied with the Nuggets and I think the Nuggets and the Wolves, if I'm not wrong, for the best in the West. But they were technically the number one seed, I guess, because of like tiebreakers, things like that. Boston had the best record last year, but no one wanted to give it to Tatum or whoever you thought the best player on that team was. But SGA, he was second in MVP last year to Jokic. And again, I think the additions of Caruso and Hartenstein, I don't think they're going to take away too much from SGA, I guess, offensively. I think, yes, Hartenstein, you can run offense through him. You talk about it, Justin, a great facilitator from, the high post, reading, cutting and stuff like that. And Caruso, not a terrible offensive player in that sense either. But I feel like SGA is going to have kind of the same offensive load, I guess, burden, whatever you want to say. Maybe even more, ball handling possessions because Giddey is gone. He was kind of, like a big playmaker in that sense. So you never know. You could see an increase in that usage in that sense. But, he's young. So in theory, he should be kind of still growing as a player. Who knows? He could develop into even a better shooter or something, or just another move to make him even more unguardable. He had a great summer with Team Canada as well. So I think, again, that we talked about it earlier with some other players. I think that'll help him just coming off a really good summer against, a lot of NBA players. Wouldn't shock me if he came in and dominated like he did really the past 2 years. But, yeah, I think it's going to be SGA.
Funny, I think I could be mistaken, but I think in one of the GM surveys or whatever, they said that I think they voted SGA as the MVP for last season. But just thinking from the mind of one of the sports writers or voters, I just feel like Luka has been at the top for a little bit longer. So I think, like I said, they call it a regular season award, but I think voters will just feel like he kind of deserves it. Plus, I think if he puts up better numbers, points, rebounds, and assists, then I think it's his for the taking.
You're both wrong.
I don't hate that Jalen Brunson pick. I really don't, but he's not going to win it.
He will win it because the Knicks, we're not just going to win games, bro. We're going to dominate these teams.
Oh, my.
We're going to be winning 15, 20-point blowout wins, bro. Jalen Brunson might win the MVP and not even step foot on the floor in the fourth quarter the whole season.
Oh, here we go.
That's how good the Knicks are going to be.
I just feel like Brunson is, I don't know. I mean, you add McHale, who's going to get some more shots. Karl Anthony Towns, who's going to get some shots. I don't know. I just feel like the reason why I think the Knicks are going to be successful is Brunson, yes, number one. He's, I think, the best player, just unequivocally, basically. If you don't have him, then that's going to be a problem. But I think the reason the team works is that you get contributions from everyone, and that's why this team is going to work, because it's one night it's going to be OG Anunoby hitting 6 threes playing lockdown defense, and that's why you win. Another night it's going to be Karl Anthony Towns putting up 30 and 10, that's why you win. Another night's going to be McHale going off for 30, Josh Hart coming in the game getting 15 rebounds. yes, Brunson is going to have his stats, but I don't know if it's going to be like MVP level stats to where it's like Luca is averaging like 30, 10, and 9 basically on who knows, maybe the best team in the West. You know, SGA is doing like, 32, 7 and 5 on like the number one team in the West, like, you know.
Just like if Spencer was here, he'd like this. Just like Tony Snow says, don't look at numbers. Don't
I
look at
mean,
numbers.
yeah, you're right, but like they are. That's
Oh
what
yeah,
like the voters are definitely
Yeah.
gonna be. I don't know. We'll see.
I will say this: if it was like the MLB where there's like a MVP in each conference, I think Jalen Brunson would have a good chance of winning the East MVP.
That's a
All
good.
right,
That's a good
respect.
point. That's a good point.
That's respect.
Yeah, and that's a lot of it has to do with just him playing in New York. Little major city boost right there. But
Really,
he's gotta have a crazy season, I think, to get MVP.
I don't think so.
It's not
I think-
impossible. It's not
I think if the
impossible.
Knicks, I think if the Knicks are a 65 win team at least, which I really do think they're capable of doing. And you got to remember, it's also Tom Thibodeau coaching. It's probably going to literally be like an 8 or 9 man rotation. Jalen Brunson might play close to 40 minutes a game.
Yeah.
He'll have plenty of minutes and time to do it.
Yeah.
And he's been pretty healthy. A couple ankle injuries, I think, last season. But he's always there. He's always
He's just not
consistent.
that guy. No, he's just not that
No,
guy.
He was fifth in MVP voting last season. And I remember that because he was fifth in MVP. But I think he like wasn't an all-star starter, and he was also not all NBA first team. And I remember like what is going on with these votes?
And he didn't make the Olympic team.
Well, I mean,
Got
that's
a
a
chip
whole
on his
different thing.
shoulder.
That's
He's
a
got a
whole
chip on his shoulder.
that's a whole different thing. But yeah. I mean, I love watching Jalen Brunson, so I'm not saying I would be against it, but to me, I just feel like SGA, it's his. I don't know if it's his to lose, but I just feel like he's right there, and I think he can grab it. Yeah. Well, that's always fun, but this is when it gets real. This is for the Mount Rushmore players. Who's going to be walking out of this season with a championship trophy? I mean, I don't know.
You already know what I'm going to say.
I don't know. All right, well, then we'll let Toby go first. Because I feel like we all know what Justin's about to do.
So I'm gonna say who I think is gonna make the finals for the East and the West, and then I'll say who's gonna win. I think out of the West, we're gonna see the Oklahoma City Thunder make the finals. First time in SGA's career. I think they have the roster to make it out of the West. And, SGA is going to be on a MVP type of season. Chet Holmgren, he's going to be even better. He's a great defensive player in his own right. And Justin, you're going to hate this, but I think the Celtics are going to make it to the NBA Finals.
Okay. No, I don't hate it because very reasonable.
I think Tatum and Brown are, in my opinion, the best duo in the league right now. And it kind of makes me feel good a little bit because, before they won last year, there was a lot of talks about can they, win a chip together? Are they good enough? Should we trade Jaylen Brown for other stars or whatnot? But I think those two have a little bit of a point to prove. I think Jaylen Brown not being on the Olympic team roster kind of, he's going to hold a grudge against the rest of the league, I believe. And Jason Tatum. And a lot of people said, too, that this is like the worst team to win the finals in a long time, which I don't necessarily agree with. But I think that's going to light a fire under them. I think I'm a big fan of Peyton Pritchard. I think that guy's going to have a big impact on that team. And Derek White, Tingus Pingus. I think he's in
Yeah.
it. If he can stay healthy, I think he's going to be good. So, and I like the Celtics against the Thunder. I think they're going to be the first team to repeat since the Warriors back in 2018. And I even wrote down Celtics in 7.
Okay.
So
Damn.
that's
We're getting a whole prediction.
that's what I say. I don't like the Celtics. I mean, I don't like the city of Boston at all, but I think they're
All
going
right.
to do it.
Well, this is weird. Everything you just said, Toby, is what I believe.
See?
Wow.
You just read my mind.
Yeah.
I literally wrote down the same exact thing. So,
Oh yeah.
but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'll start with the Thunder. Again, SGA is my MVP. So, he's obviously capable, hopefully, of leading them in the playoffs. I think Chet Holmgren's I don't know if he's going to take a huge step forward. I don't know if he even has to. I think he's already great. Same thing with Jalen Williams. I think those two are going to complement SGA really nicely again. But again, you bring in Alex Caruso, you bring in Isaiah Hartenstein. I feel like those are huge additions. And it's, to me, I don't want to sound too much like of a homer, but it does remind me of like when the Nuggets brought in Bruce Brown and Jeff Green, like that season, before they had won a championship. And I was like, these moves are going to help this team like so much. And, it's not going to be necessarily them coming in and putting up 20 points a game or anything, but a lot of little things. I think it's going to add to their already really good defense. And generally defensive teams. I mean, we saw in last year's playoffs, like the Mavericks, they were a really good defensive team, and the Timberwolves, that was the Western Conference Finals. So, and obviously the Celtics were a great defensive team all year long as well, who ended up winning a title. But I feel like when you have that, when you have, a top 10 defense, maybe even a top 5 defense, you have the MVP, in my opinion. And then, just a great complementary role players around a guy like that. It's just a recipe for success. And I feel like that's really going to, and the continuity as well, right? Like, the reason why I don't think the Timberwolves might not get back to, where they were, they lose Karl Anthony Towns. Not to say that it's not going to, they're not going to be just as good, but I just feel like, you got to establish roles now with Julius Randle, Dante. You bring in a rookie like Rob Dillingham, not to say he's going to make like a huge impact, but, just another guy who might, need to find a role. It might take time for him to really get integrated. I feel like the Thunder with Caruso and Hartenstein, they know what they are. They're more established players just in general. And everywhere they've gone, it's not like this is the first time, they've been moved to a different team and, just made an impact. So, again, the Thunder, I think they can win the West. And then Boston, man. I mean, everything you said, Toby, it's just weird to think that these guys like have more motivation than they did even, previously before winning a championship, just based off the events of like this summer. And, it's funny. I've tried to get like a feel for like how, Jaylen Brown feels about his summer, Jason Tatum feels about his summer. But like, I don't know. I don't know if I really buy into like they have a chip on their shoulder because Jason Tatum got benched in the Olympics or like Jaylen Brown wasn't even on the roster. Like, I don't know if I really buy that. I just feel like what they did last year was so impressive, and it really didn't get like enough highlights of how good they actually were as a team. Like, they were one of the better teams like in NBA history, really. Like, in terms of just like efficiency, offense and defense, like they were a fantastic team. Not to mention just the collection of players that they have is ridiculous. Like Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kristaps Porzingis is a ridiculous starting five in any era. And I don't know, like you said, the role players, Peyton Pritchard, I really like. Sam Hauser was really good for them last year. And, they have some other guy like Xavier Tillman, who they brought in. who I think got hurt, but could come back and really make an impact. And we'll see. Al Horford, who the man who continues to defy
Gosh.
age, basically, still making an impact. I think he's like 39 now. I want to say, it's ridiculous. But yeah, man, they have the continuity. I think that'll help. And I don't know, like the Eastern Conference, like your Knicks, Justin. I mean, you can say what you want to say about your Knicks, but go, yeah.
You want to hear what I gotta say?
Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why Toby and I are wrong. Why the Celtics should be not shouldn't be feared.
I never said nothing about them not being feared, but I want to start with the West. The Timberwolves are making it out of the West.
Really?
Okay.
Wow.
If it's not the Timberwolves, I would say the Mavericks. Obviously OKC is a phenomenal team. I knew you two would say OKC. I thought you might lean towards Dallas, Toby, but I knew both of you would be high on OKC. So that's why I left them off. I wanted to have a different pick. But the Timberwolves, they are better than both the Mavericks and the Thunder at every position that Luka or SGA aren't playing.
Really?
Matchup wise, the Timberwolves clear them in every position other than, point guard. If you're saying Luka is the point guard for the Mavericks, obviously SGA is the point guard for the Thunder. Other than point guard, the T-Wolves clear them at every position, both teams, easily.
Really?
Easily.
Chet over Gobert.
No.
Chet over Derek Lively? Tell me. No, Joseph, come on.
Well, we're not comparing the Mavericks and the OKC. We're comparing the T-Wolves.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. You're right.
It's tough. It's going to be tough. I just don't think. I mean, like you said, Cat was such a crucial part for that team, and they're going to have to that's why I wasn't I don't know. It's tough for me. It's really tough for me.
The only reason I say this is because Karl Anthony Towns is the best big man shooter ever, maybe other than Dirk. But Julius Randle can space the floor. Julius Randle is not a horrendous shooter. And in the preseason so far, Dante DiVincenzo has been hooping. And he's not even going to be a starter, I don't think. So I think the Timberwolves have the depth. They were also top 10, if not top 5 defense last year. And I feel like they should have won that Western Conference Finals. I feel like they definitely kind of sold it. It was in part to Karl Anthony Towns not playing as well as he should have been playing. But I just saw Anthony Edwards said that him and Julius are vibing. He loves Julius's competitive spirit and, all that other stuff. I just think that the Timberwolves are the scariest team. And I think Anthony Edwards is the scariest superstar out of SGA and Luka. He might not be the best player, but I feel like you have to fear him more than the other two because he plays both ends. He's the most athletic out of the three, and he can still shoot it. He's a better shooter than Shea, not as good of a shooter as Luka. But I feel like, I don't know. I don't know about all around, but he's a great player. I was going to say he might be the best all-around player, but I don't think that's true. But I feel like he's the scariest player out of all of them because he can, head to the rim. He's got the midi. He's got the 3-ball. He knows how to pass. He's playing both ends. Neither one of those other two clowns are playing both ends. I'll tell you that. But
you still
maybe not
you still haven't mentioned,
but
obviously the Knicks are making it out of the East, and obviously the Knicks are winning it. So I just wanted to give the
wow. So it's going to be a battle of Karl Anthony Towns' first finals is going to be in Minnesota, but he's going to be in a Knicks uniform. That's what you're telling me?
Yeah, but
I mean that would be great.
I don't know who they were talking about. I can't remember. It was somebody was they were talking about somebody was built to beat another team. I can't remember who they were saying. They were just saying this a year or two ago that they built this team. It was the T-Wolves. They were saying the T-Wolves were built to beat the Nuggets. And then I'm pretty sure they did beat the Nuggets, right? It just wasn't,
Yep.
the Western Conference Finals. They beat the Nuggets.
In the second round, yeah.
The New York Knicks they were built to beat the Boston Celtics. That's why we have Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are going to be getting arguably one of the best wing defenders in OG and Mikal Bridges. And then you got Josh Hart, who's going to out hustle both of them combined. That guy's going to be diving on floors. He's going to be boxing out, getting elbowed down low, trying to get rebounds. And Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson look scary in the preseason. You were saying, Toby, that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are the best duo in the league. But when this year is all said and done, I think people are going to say Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns are the best duo in the league.
Wow.
That pick and roll, pick and pop is going to be insane. Why do you two always look like this whenever I make a take? You're always looking like, oh, look at this guy go again.
Well,
No, you made
because
some good points. You made some.
No, yeah, you were making points, and then you're like, they're gonna be the best duo in the league after
Somebody's
1 year.
got to be here making the crazy take.
You gotta
And
prove it.
I
You gotta prove it.
love doing
Yeah.
it.
Justin, you didn't even mention the best player on the Timberwolves, Nas Reed.
Yeah, there you go.
Nas Reed,
There
what a
you go.
guy, big jelly, best player in the league, bro.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm changing all my picks. Breakout season, big jelly. MVP, big jelly.
Nas Reed, every big. No, I mean I like the Timberwolves, and you said they're better at every position, and I think when you look at it like that, yes. But to me, like the Thunder are just like, as a collective, I think that's why they're going to be so good, because they're all going to be on a string. Like every night you're going to get, contributions from like everyone. I feel like they also have depth. Like, I don't know if it's notable depth. Like, you have Nas Reed, who's like the sixth man. You have Dante, who's coming off the bench now, but they got some depth. Like, Isaiah Joe has been like a really good player for them. Aaron Wiggins, I think, he's been really solid.
Lou Dort.
Yeah, Lou Dort, who's probably going to be off the bench now. So, like, they got some pieces. And Isaiah Hartenstein, who, might not be a starter. I don't know. I just feel like, that's going to be a great series if it happens. But I think it could come down to, home court advantage, where they finish in the standings. But what you're saying about Boston and the Knicks being this team that is built to beat Boston, that's an interesting take, because you do make some good points. Obviously, if you were to take down a team like Boston, who would you want to stop? Probably, first Jason Tatum, second Jaylen Brown, however you view that. But, it makes sense. You get a guy like Mikal who can match up with one of them, OG who can match up with one of them, and, switch really interchangeably, and I think that helps. Like you said, Josh Hart, another guy you could throw on either one of them. But the Celtics, man, I just feel like, what Derek White does, I think, is so big for them, and then obviously Drew Holiday. It's just like, to me, I don't know. It's like I don't see it getting worse is my thing. And they were already so great last year. Barring an injury, I just feel like this team is going to just continue to do what they've been doing, and I just feel like they're going to be really hard to beat.
I don't know. I'm definitely fearful of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and he'll be healthy by the time the playoffs come around. Kristaps Porzingis kind of scares me because he used to be a Knick. I feel like he's it's been a long time since he was a Knick, but I feel like he wants to get his lick back. Like he wants to. I feel like he still feels that kid booing at him during the draft in his heart. I feel like he still feels that. But who I am the most fearful of on that team is that psycho Joe Mazzulla. That guy lives, breathes, eats basketball. That guy is he's a psycho. He might be the most locked in guy in the whole league. Out of all
He's great.
players and coaches and trainers
Yeah.
and everybody. Because I was
He
just
didn't he
watching
try and like contest the shot last year? Do you remember that? I remember that. He like ran out onto the court and like tried to contest a shot after like during a timeout or something. Like players shoot like, just to get a shot up. Like he went out and contested. I was like, what is this guy doing?
no, but I was watching somebody asked him a question about, like Drew Holiday's role or like what he means to the team or something. And then this guy like pulled like a LeBron James and like completely broke down like every aspect of the whole play that they were talking about. And he was just like, oh, this, that, their basketball lingo there, like stuff that I don't even know what he's talking about. Like he's really talking about like X's and O's type of stuff. He's just like that's all he is thinking about. That's all he's got on his mind is just X's, O's, where somebody's going to be. How do we run this play to perfection? How do we win this game the best way that we can win it? He's scary, bro. He's a scary guy.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, I think when he got hired, Ime Udoka was fired because of, his misconduct, I guess. And then Joe Mazzulla came in and I think there was some questions on like I don't know, maybe his leadership even, but I feel like he's kind of came in there and really developed like a really good culture, like a no nonsense, it seems. Like you said, very locked in, very engaged. And I think that's what you want. I think there was also a lot of like, always kind of like awkward in front of the media and things like that. But I don't know. Like I just feel like
nothing to do with
he just
basketball.
loves basketball.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that's awesome. I think his dad was like a long time coach as well. Not in the NBA, but I forget if he was in college or in high school. He was like a really like tenured, like I think like 30 years or something, like close to 30 or 40 years. So he comes from a basketball family, a coaching family. So
Did he play in the
definitely,
league at all, or was he just like
um,
basketball IQ guy?
I don't think he played in the league, but I know he played in college. He played at West Virginia, I think. I
Thought
want
it
to
was
say
Mizzou.
it wasn't. Yeah, okay, it might have been Mizzou. Yeah. But I
Zoom
don't
is
know.
over.
He
Yeah,
knocked out John Wall and I think it was Boogie was on that Kentucky team. He knocked them out of the tournament, I think.
Damn,
Well,
he's that young.
oh
yeah,
yeah.
he's 36 years old. Joe Mazzulla. He's one of the younger coaches in the league. Yeah, I know. That's another crazy thing. Like, he already has a championship to his name. That's pretty crazy. Like, I'm trying to think of like recent coaches who have won. Mike Malone's a little bit older. Obviously Steve Kerr, Budenholzer. Like, we haven't had a young guy win in a while. I feel like Frank Vogel the year before that. Nick Nurse. I don't know how old Nick Nurse is, but yeah, I don't know. Like, he's 36. Like, he's like as old as like he's younger than Al Horford. Like, uh, so he could be out there playing even. But no, I hope we get a Celtics Knicks series, Justin. I think that would be a fantastic series. And
I hope the Knicks get the hardest playoff run. I hope we face the Sixers. I hope we face the Celtics. I hope we get Indiana again. I hope we play the Bucks. I hope we literally they should just team in the East before we even get to the finals. Just so that everybody knows we deserve to be there.
Indiana's gonna be pretty good. I don't know if you want that.
I don't know. I think they got lucky. I think I was saying it. I don't know if I was saying it during this season or if I was just saying it like to you guys hanging out. The Pacers didn't beat us. The Pacers didn't beat us in the playoffs. Injuries beat us in the playoffs.
okay. Well, you got to stay healthy this year. That's all you.
Yeah, I mean, other than Mitch and Julius, everybody was good to go for the playoffs. So, knock on wood, everybody stays healthy.
You
Yeah.
guys lost to the better team.
I don't know. I don't think we did.
Yeah. Well, that's how I felt back in 2021 when the Nets lost, but you guys gave me stuff for that. So
Who did you guys play? Who did you lose to?
The Bucks when Giannis, destroyed Kyrie's ankle.
Oh yeah.
That guy James Harden was playing on one leg. And then I don't know. KD has size 25 feet.
Well, that team was different because that was a super team.
Okay. All right. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
And it was Kevin Durant. Like, you really thought we were just gonna let that slide after him going to the Warriors and then, planning this whole big three with those other two guys. Like, it was all him. People called LeBron the GM, bro. Kevin Durant needs some kind of nickname like that because that guy just goes wherever he wants and picks up whoever he wants. And he's like, yeah, I'm not coming here unless these guys are coming with me.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, well, all right, boys. That's all I got. I think we've overextended our
Yeah, we've
normal
been going
time
for
here.
almost 2 hours.
So, I mean, hey, we knew we had a lot to say, and this is obviously probably the biggest episode of the year, so we gotta lock it in, But next time we talk, we'll be seeing some regular season games.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
And then it's off to the races. So here we go. But yeah, good stuff. We'll revisit these picks probably, maybe, who knows, mid-season, end of season, and we'll see. Should be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think I picked some great. I don't think I missed. I don't think I missed once.
We'll see. Now only time tells. But yeah, fun to be back. Season's back, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. But until then, we'll be seeing you.